Hello guys, welcome back to our snake game tutorial in Java. In this video we're going to add some refinements in the movement of our snake and some collision detection between our game form borders. We're also going to add some pressing of start to start the game so that when we run the program it will not going to move immediately. We need to press start, and then we're going to add some restrictions in the movement of the snake. So if we press the left and the snake is going left, it should not be going right immediately. It should be going up first or down first before going to the right, and vice versa. And we're going to add some game over screen and a restart the game option so that if the user um, died because it collided with the border, the user can restart it by pressing the button R. Okay, so let's start programming. So the first thing that we need to do is to add some variables that will hold the logic of our game. So we need to add some Boolean variables. Private Boolean is game over. So this by default will be false. And then is started is equals to true. So is started will be executed once. When we start the program, that's the time that the game will be, or the is started will be evaluated. So what we need to change first is um, here in our paint component, we need to add some logic here first. So if is started, so if the user just started the game, um, we need to print in the form. So let's say let's set first a color, set color dot gray, and then g dot set or drawString. So press enter to start the game, and then let's print. So let's make it in the middle. So divide by 2 minus 100, and then the y will be almost the same. Game form that height divided by 2, and then we need to add some listener if the user press the enter. So we need to check it via the keyboard object. If keyboard that is down, key event underscore vk, or sorry, dot vk underscore enter. So if the user presses or press the enter, so we need to make the is started to be false. Okay, so if it is game over, so let's add something here. Set color, again let's make it again gray. Sorry, drawString. So game over, and then let's output it in the middle also. And then below that word game over, let's print the press R to restart the game. So this time it should be the same, but below the message, get form that with divided by 2 minus, let's say, 18. Otherwise, if the user is not started and it is not yet game over, so let's draw the snake. So these three condition, the condition here will uh, this is our main logic in our game. So for the game loop, it will going to execute and depends on the values of this variable, whether we can see the press enter to start the game or a game over message. So let's test if we can see those messages. Okay, so press enter to start the game. Okay, so I press enter, but the snake is already moving right now. So what we need to do is to separate the initialization of these variables and the starting of the actual game. So let's create another method, init or initialize. So in the initialization, that is the time that we need to reset the snake and the food. So let's set the direction and the position of our snake. Okay, and then let's initialize the food and the snake here. And initialize. So we need this if we press the R for restart of the game. So let's try. Okay. So let's try again. So if I press enter, I think it is running already. Maybe we need to initialize it if we press the enter, so we can call the initialize here, initialize, and then comment the initialize in the constructor. Let's we have an error, so it's a null pointer exception in our game engine. Okay, so the direction doesn't have any value, so we need to make the direction to be initialized first. So we need to copy the direction is equals to direction that down. Okay, let's try again. Okay, another error. Our snake is not yet initialized. Okay, so we need this code to be in our constructor, and then remove this comment. So the thing that we need to initialize is the default direction. So let's start by the default direction, which is down, and then the default position of our snake is 270 by 270. Let's try again. Okay, press enter. Okay, let's try again. Okay, press enter to start the game. Okay. So that is the first part. So we need to add, for the next one, we need to add some border collision to check if the snake can die if it collided with the border of our game form. Okay, so we have created the initial messages as a by pressing the enter, we're going to start the game. Now we need to check if the snake collided with the wall. So as of right now, the wall that we consider is this the actual border line of our form. So this is the right wall, the top wall, the left wall, and our bottom wall. So how are we going to check if the head collided with one of those walls? So to do that, let's go back here in our model. So let's say we have a wall. So let's add some color to visualize the wall. Okay. So let's say this is our form. So we can borrow it here. So the initial or the top left, the topmost and leftmost corner of our wall starts at y0 or x0 and y0, and then it increments based on its position. So this x0 and y1, and then sorry, we can use this one. Okay, so let's add at least two position here. Okay, so let's say that is the coordinates of our wall. So let's say the snake is heading towards the left wall, and it reached the leftmost wall. So it just touched, the head just touched the wall, but the coordinates are different because this one will have a coordinate of uh, our wall will have a coordinate of x0 and y, let's say y5, while our head will have an x of x1 and y of 5. Though they have the same y-axis, they have different x-axis. So this is not considered as dead. So if the user is fast enough to press the W for up or S for down, the head might be go over here or over here. So it means that it avoided to be collided with the wall. So what is the thing that we considered as collided? If the head is something like this one. So if the head is the same as one of the coordinates of our wall, so let's say now the head has an x of 0 and y is 15, that is considered as dead. So the snake now will be dead because of this condition. This is the one that we need to check. What about if the snake, so let's say it goes beyond the wall? So this is possible because our game has a delay of 50 milliseconds. So there's a chance that the checking, or while the head is directly collided with the wall, there's a chance that the game engine might not check it because of a delay of 50 milliseconds. So there's a possibility that the head might go over here or beyond. So this is one of the conditions that we need to check. If the x or if the head's x is equals to 0 or less than or equal to 0, it means that it collided with our left wall. Now if the head is more than, copy, paste, let's paste it here, and now if the position of our head is something like this, as you can remember in our game form only or have the size of 600 by 600. So it means that our this one will be 600. The width and the height is 600. So and that width is composed also of pixels. So it means that the overall length of this, the height of our game form is 600 pixels. So it means that if the head is more than the 600, the snake is also dead because it goes over the height of our snake. Now, if the condition is something like this, let's copy again the head and then copy the body. Okay. So if this is the case, it means that it collided with our right wall. So the same is the same condition is true. The x of the wall for the right is equal to the x of the head and also the y. And another case is that if the head is equals to 0, equals or uh, less than to 0, it means that it collided with the top wall. So those are the conditions that we need to check for us to say that the snake is the snake collided with the wall and is now dead. So to do this, we need to go back here in our code and then add another function in the snake class. So let's create a function public boolean is dead. So as you can see, it's like asking a question. Is the snake already dead or is it dead? So we have some checking here. But first we need to get the uh, position, the exact position of the head when we call this function is dead. So let's pass that value by calling the snake body that get and then index 0. Okay, so let's get the head. So okay, so by accessing the index 0, the index 0 is the initial point in our array list snake body. So this is the head. So since the snake body is composed of array list of point, we can get the one object and then put it in a separate object, which is we created here as head and of type point. Then we can check if the head that get location that x plus 10 is greater than or equals to game form that, since it's that is x, so it should be width or head that get location that x is less than or equals to 0, or less than 0. We can check it that way. Okay, so let's add some comment here. So this is collided with the right wall, and the condition in the lower part is collided with the left wall. So if these conditions are true, we have an error, so return true. So if either the x is more than the game form width, or it is less than 0, then it is considered as dead. So if head, then let's check for the top and bottom wall. It's less than or equals to game form that height, or head head get location that y is less than 0. So let's return true. So this one is collided with the bottom wall, and this one collided with the top wall. So if both returns false, we can return is dead as false. Okay, so how can we use the is dead? So let's go back here, game engine. Okay, in our update, we didn't we need to add a condition of if not. So I've used the exclamation point, so it means that I'm going to reverse the boolean value of is game over. So if not is game over, so it means that if it's not yet game over, we need to execute these codes. So if it's not game over, we can continue the playing. But if the snake is dead, so this is dead is the function that we have created here. So this one. So if the snake is dead, we can set the is game over to false or to true, and then okay, so that's it. So now that the snake is game over, and then let's add some checking for the restart. So if the current status is game over and the user press the R, we can initialize it. So it means that we have restarted the game. So let's try. Okay. So if we collided with the top wall first, okay, so we have a message here. Press R to restart the game. R. Is it really R? Wait. Is down VKR if it is game over. If not, okay, so we have so if the user press the R, we need to initialize it and then set the is game over to false again. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so top wall. Okay, so press R to restart the game. R. Okay. So we still have some trailings there. Okay, so we need to delete. We need to delete those remaining snake body before we can. Okay, so in the initialize, we can maybe when we initialize a snake. So let's call it again. So new snake. so that we can remove the trailing tails of the snake if it died. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so our last task for this video is how to control the snake so that it will not go directly from right if it is moving to left. So we need to have some checking for those movements. So let's say if I am moving right, I cannot, and the pressing of A will be disabled. So you need to go up first before pressing the A for the left, or down first and then press the D for the right. So no um, movement, something like this. Okay, so you cannot move from upwards to downwards immediately. So you need to move left or right, then downwards. So, so it likes you're moving 360 degrees before. Okay, so let's program the restriction. So again, as these two barbels are doing, it is controlling the whole game flow. We need to add another boolean variables to control or restrict the movements of the snake if it is moving in a specific direction. So let's create two variables: restrict left right, let's say it's false, then restrict up down, which is false again. Okay, so by default, if the snake is currently moving downwards, the restrict up down will be uh, true, and the restrict left right will be false, so that we can move either left or right only. You cannot go up or down because it is currently going down. So how you need we need to add another method. So we have already the check snake movement. So let's add another method here. So private void restrict snake movement. So if direction is equals to direction that left, or direction is equals to direction that right. Okay, so we need to restrict the restrict left right will be true. Sorry, restrict. Okay, and the restrict up down will be false. So it means that you can move either up or down if you are currently moving from left to right. Then another if again, if direction is equals to direction that up, or direction is equals to direction that down. Okay, so we can reverse the meaning of or the state of these variables. So this one is false and this one is true. Okay, so now we need to update this check snake movement. So you cannot press the VKA and VKD if you are already moving in that direction, or in the left right direction. So we can add another if here. If restrict left right, if this is true, what what are the movements that are available for us is this one. Okay, so we can copy here. Okay, else if restrict up down, we can do the left or right. So this one we can comment it first. Check snake movement, restrict movement. So we need to call the restrict movement here. Restrict snake movement. Then change, or maybe we can call first the check snake movement before we can restrict. So let's try. So R. So up. Okay, so as we cannot um, move left, just down. Let's try again. So let's say I'm moving left, I cannot press the D or the movement to right, only either up, okay, good, or down. If I'm moving to the right, I can only move up or down. Let's try again. So I am moving right, so down, okay, right, down. Okay, so I collided with the wall. Okay, so I try again. So that is the movement. So that is a correct movement for our snake. So it needs to turn around before it can move to the opposite direction. So if you are going to right, you cannot go to left immediately. Just go down or go up. So if you're going to right, you can go up and then left so that you can go to the opposite side. Okay, that's it guys. In our next video, we will make the food to appear randomly in our game and make the snake to eat it and grow. So that's it. Thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions about our video today, just write it in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to be updated in these tutorials. Thank you.